It's lovely to be here with you this morning, and I want to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of country and pay my respects to elders past and present. I want to acknowledge the Turrbal and Jagera people. It's important that we do that always, but particularly this year as we are having an important national conversation about recognising First Nations people. It's important that we acknowledge the country that we're on. So my name is Senator Jana Stewart. I'm a Mati Wamba Wamba woman. So my traditional country is northwest Victoria and over the border into New South Wales. My connection to this place goes back over 65,000 years, as evidenced through some of the oldest remains found in the world, Mungo man and Mungo woman. It's a part of my ancestry and connection to this place. I have to commend NetThing and Identity Digital for creating the Indigenous Leaders Governance and Policy Fellowship and their commitment to supporting inclusive tech governance practices. I feel like lots of the things that I'm going to say this morning feel like a real mouthful, so you just have to bear with me as I work through it. The objective of this fellowship is to encourage Indigenous Australians to become involved in internet governance. Fellows will be mentored throughout NetThing and Asia Pacific Regional Internet Governance Forum and beyond, becoming an integral part of the future program. They will also be given the chance to collaborate and share ideas with fellows from other forums in the coming week, including youth and the Pacific Internet Governance Forums. Most importantly, though, fellows will get to participate in discussions on topics such as the social and economic value of the internet, multi-stakeholder governance, and the challenges of digital accessibility over the coming days. It's an exciting time to be having these discussions and immersing ourselves in the world of technology, policy, and internet governance. Over the last 12 months, we've seen generative AI enter the mainstream, which has already changed the way we learn and work. This development has also raised important questions about the ethical use of AI more broadly and how governments should be regulating this space. In response, the Albanese Labor government provided funding of $41.2 million in its latest budget to support the responsible rollout of AI technology in Australia. This funding also supports the National AI Centre and new Responsible AI Adopt program for small and medium enterprises. Although this technological advancement comes with a lot of promise, it also comes with a range of risks. For example, in the last year, we've seen heightened awareness of privacy and data protection risks, especially in the context of the large corporate data breaches in 2022. The lack of digital inclusion is another risk for technological developments, particularly in the context of First Nations people. The 2023 Australia Digital Inclusion Index shows that although digital inclusion is improving, there is a considerable gap between First Nations people and non-First Nations people, and it sits at around 7.5 points. This gap is even more pronounced in remote and very remote communities, increasing to around 25 points. This highlights the significant challenges these communities currently face and the need to listen to individual community needs and aspirations. Digital inclusion goes beyond just having access. There's also a need for all Australians to have the devices and underlying infrastructure in place to facilitate modern speed and data requirements. It also includes affordability, especially as cost of living pressures increase, and digital ability, which ensures that Australians are not only safe online, but can enjoy the education, health, and economic benefits the internet can provide. Digital inclusion also refers to taking a multi-stakeholder approach and serving the interests of the internet community as a whole. I've been told that talking about multi-stakeholder approach is going to be a real theme of the conference. Cheryl in particular was happy to hear that it was in my speech. The Albanese Labor government is working to narrow this gap, including through the development of First Nations Digital Inclusion Action Plan to address some of the challenges that our people face in participating in the digital environment. This plan involves equipping First Nations people with the specialised digital skills required to participate in vocational and professional careers, including careers in the future. The technology is evolving quickly, and there are significant opportunities for First Nations people to be active participants, contributors, and innovators in the emerging Australian digital sector. Initiatives such as the Indigenous Leaders Fellowship exemplifies the sector's interests in facilitating First Nations talent to thrive in the industry. One of the objectives of the fellowship I'm here to launch today is to facilitate a multi-stakeholder model of governance. Technology policy solutions and policy solutions more broadly require multi-stakeholder input to holistically assess a problem and address their broader impacts. Although the technology may be new, this principle is not. This principle is about having a diverse range of experiences, voices, histories, informing the development of governance that will impact each of us in some shape or form. At the heart, the principle is enabling everyone who may be impacted by the structure to help inform it and shape it. This is also the principle which underlies the upcoming referendum on a voice to Parliament. The referendum taking place later this year is based on an invitation from the Uluru Statement from the Heart to the Australian people. This invitation has been long-standing and is directly from First Nations people, not politicians. It is a product of one of the most historically significant consultation processes ever conducted in our nation's history. A successful referendum will see us take our rightful place in our constitution. First Nations people will be recognised as the first peoples of our nation. And the other part for me that's really important is it's about connecting our 65,000 years of history, First Nations history, with the Australia that we are today in our constitution. It's about uniting us all in our country's founding document. It's also about creating practical and lasting change that will lead to better policies and improve outcomes for First Nations people in areas like health, education, housing, and jobs. In the context of technology policy, we know that better inputs like listening leads to better outputs. It's as simple as that. Such a simple and modest request. The same is true when it comes to bringing practical outcomes and change for First Nations people. All of us together have an incredible opportunity to make that happen this year with 3 simple letters, a Y, an E, and a yes, and an S. On that very positive note, I feel like I've got the best part of the program, but I also I'm biased, I guess. I'm excited to present the NetThing and Identity Digital Indigenous Leaders Fellowship. The NetThing and Identity Digital Indigenous Leaders Fellowship supports fellows who play an active role in the areas of technology and internet-related policy within our Indigenous community. Congratulations to the 2023 recipients of the Indigenous Leaders Internet Governance and Policy Fellowship. And I'll read out each of their names and then I'm going to invite them to come up on stage, which I didn't know until about 15 minutes ago they were going to be doing that. So I might read out their names and then get them to come up on stage after that, and you'll have to give them a big round of applause at the end. So firstly, congratulations to Dr. Jenny Fraser, Yugambeh woman, artist, creator and educator, industry advocate, and has won awards for her work in emerging technologies. Congratulations to Susan Beatson, a Nimba Walewan woman who recently submitted her PhD thesis and is now a lecturer at UQ in interactive technologies in the School of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. Congratulations to Roy Chapman, a Nimba Walewan and Wiradjuri man and Chief Technology Officer at Indigital. He has substantial experience in the domain of internet governance and has over 2 decades of leadership in the IT sector. These fellows were selected as a result of their interest in the role of technology within the Indigenous community and their involvement in the online space, and we're excited to welcome them. Thank you. The other part that I left out of my introductory words about them is that they are solid and deadly. That was a part of my that was a part of my script for coming up on stage too. When I asked them what they wanted me to say about them, they said, "Say that we're solid." So it is our hope that Jenny, Susan and Roy will lead these forums with a network that will facilitate ongoing exposure and encourage future involvement in the internet governance community. The fellows will be invited to join the NetThing steering committee and be encouraged to engage in relevant national, regional and global internet governance and internet policy development opportunities so that they can continue to play an integral and ongoing role in supporting the future of internet governance within Australia. A huge congratulations again, and thank you very much for having me.